So, African Blackwood is actually a small tree, reaching anywhere from 4 to 15 meters tall, with gray bark and these spiny shoots. Its leaves are deciduous during the dry season, arranged alternately, and each one is about 6 to 22 centimeters long, pinnately compound with 6 to 9 alternately arranged leaflets. The flowers are white and they show up in these dense clusters, while the fruit is a pod, about 3 to 7 centimeters long, usually containing just 1 or 2 seeds. It's kind of interesting, but this wood is often cited as one of the most expensive woods in the world. To be considered the original ebony, African Blackwood was actually imported and used in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago. Even the name ebony itself has an Egyptian derivation as HBNY, which, as it turns out, refers primarily to Dalbergia melanoxylon, rather than the species that are considered ebony today, like those in the Rosewood genus. In addition, African Blackwood is technically in the Rosewood genus, which is Dalbergia, and it's actually more stable and resistant to movement and warping than other types of ebony. Common names for this tree include African Blackwood, Mpingo in Swahili, and Grenadilla. The scientific name is Dalbergia melanoxylon. So this tree is found mainly in the dry savanna regions of Central and Southern Africa. It usually grows to about 20 to 30 feet tall, and its trunk can be anywhere from 2 to 3 feet in diameter. The average dried weight is around 79 pounds per cubic foot, or about 1,270 kilograms per cubic meter. When it comes to color and appearance, the wood is often completely black, with little or no discernible grain. Sometimes though, it can be just a bit lighter, showing a dark brown or even a purplish hue. The pale yellow sapwood is usually very thin, and it stands out clearly from the much darker heartwood. The grain is typically straight, with a fine, even texture and, a pretty good natural luster. In terms of rot resistance, the heartwood is rated as very durable against decay, but it's only moderately resistant to insects and borers. On the other hand, the lighter-colored sapwood is commonly attacked by powder post beetles and other borers. So, when it comes to workability, African Blackwood is honestly very difficult to work with, using either hand or machine tools, and it has this extreme blunting effect on cutters. Most often it's actually used in turned objects, where it's considered to be among the very finest of all turning woods. It's capable of holding threads and other intricate details really well. Now, when it's made into clarinet or oboe bodies, the wood is usually processed on metalworking equipment, which gives it a reputation as being, well, kind of metal-like in some of its working properties. As for odor, African Blackwood has a mild, though distinctive, scent while being worked. So let's talk a bit about pricing and availability. African Blackwood is honestly very expensive. It's right up there with true ebonies like Gaboon ebony from the Rosewood genus. Because the tree grows so slowly and it's usually small and kind of gnarly, the boards you find tend to be pretty narrow. Though every now and then, larger clear sections have been harvested from older trees, and those can yield book-matched guitar backs that are about 8 inches wide. Now, when it comes to sustainability, African Blackwood is listed on CITES Appendix 2, under the genus-wide restriction on all Dalbergia species. That even includes finished products made from the wood. It's also reported by the IUCN as being near threatened. Technically, it doesn't quite meet the Red List criteria for a vulnerable or endangered species, but it's close to qualifying and, well, it may qualify in the near future. Now let's get into the uses. African Blackwood is a dense, lustrous wood that ranges in color from reddish to pure black. It's generally cut into small billets or logs, and the sharply demarcated bright yellow-white sapwood is often left on to help with slow drying, which helps prevent cracks from developing. Good quality. A grade African Blackwood actually commands some of the highest prices on the commercial timber market. The timber is mainly valued for its machinability, density, dimensional stability, and its ability to repel moisture. These properties are especially important when it's used in woodwind instruments like clarinets, oboes, transverse flutes, piccolos, recorders, Highland pipes, and Northumbrian pipes. The Deering Banjo Company, for example, uses Blackwood, sometimes called Grenadilla, to construct the tone ring in its John Hartford model banjo because it weighs less than brass or bronze tone rings, and the wood actually plays in, meaning it improves in tone with use. Furniture makers, going all the way back to ancient Egypt, have valued this timber. There's even a story that it was used as ballast in trading ships, and that some clever Northumbrian pipe makers used old discarded blackwood ballast to great effect. German knife companies like Wusthof, Boker, and J.A. Henkel's sell knives with blackwood handles, thanks to the wood's moisture-repellent qualities. So, you'll find African blackwood used in musical instruments, guitars, clarinets, oboes and so on, as well as in inlay, carving, tool handles, and various other turned objects. Just to add a little more context, African blackwood is considered to be among the hardest and densest woods in the world. In fact, among some 285 species that have been tested, including Lignum vitae, it's really up there. Thanks for watching.